Hey everybody, Casey here, and I am once again here with Michael Sansolo. I have traveled to Washington, D.C. Because I basically wanted to see the new Whole Foods store that has the Amazon Go Just Walk Out technology. Michael lives basically in the neighborhood, so we went and visited it together, and we want to come sort of explain it to you, and I'm going to put some pictures down below. But start out by putting this neighborhood, this store into context for us.
Yeah, and actually people who have visited Washington probably have not come to this neighborhood. It's a residential neighborhood called Glover Park. It's about a mile north of Georgetown, a neighborhood a lot of people know. But here's what you got to know about this neighborhood, both in terms of supermarkets and who lives here. First of all, on the way to Georgetown, you will pass one of the most popular Safeway stores in the District of Columbia. It's called the Social Safeway because it's where people always went traditionally to make friends, make dates, whatever. Up the street about half a mile is a really nice, fairly new Giant store, and it happens to be across the street from the National Cathedral. Now also for this neighborhood, since you're an out-of-towner, we're about half a mile from the Naval Observatory, which also happens to be the residence of the Vice President. And if we walk up this street...
Big finish on this
one. Here's the big finish. We walk up this street about a quarter of a mile is the Russian Embassy. And right now, that's an exciting place. A sign went up yesterday in front of the Russian Embassy, now renaming this street, which is Wisconsin Avenue, Zelensky Way, after the president of Ukraine. So there's a lot of protests in this neighborhood, too.
A little quiet at the moment. So anyway, so we walked into the store, and it is basically the same experience as an Amazon Go, with the exception of the fact that they don't have a specific dedicated app. You have an Amazon Go app to get into an Amazon Go store. Here you go on the Amazon app, traditional Amazon app, and then there's a little button, it shows you right there, detects the fact that you're in a store, and it's your in-store code, and you use that to basically charge whatever you're going to buy.
And it's more like an Amazon Fresh than an Amazon Go. Amazon Go much smaller.
Well, I mean in terms of technology.
Yes.
See, Amazon Fresh stores, I have not been in an Amazon Fresh store that uses this technology.
Okay.
They're going to get to that, but this is going to be probably twice the size of the Amazon Fresh stores that I've been in.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask you that, because you went there. You've been in Amazon Fresh.
Right.
Having seen this, how would you compare the two?
This is a lot nicer than an Amazon Fresh store. I mean, I was on Morning Newsbeat. I talked about that. It was kind of a crappy experience. It struck me as a dark store that just happened to be letting customers into, because when I was there, at least, and I've heard this from a lot of people who have gone to Amazon Fresh stores, there are more people shopping for other people there, than there are people actually shopping for themselves. Mm-hmm. That was not our experience walking to the store just now. But that said, there also weren't a lot of people. We're doing this on a Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not real busy. One can imagine that store will get a lot busier at about 5, 6 o'clock. Yeah. People will need dinner. A lot of people who are, small families, singles, things like that are going to use that.
A lot of students, because we have American University in Georgetown, both about a mile away. I can compare this store because my daughter used to live in this neighborhood, and we used to come to this store. So comparing it to what it was as a Whole Foods, I actually think a little bit of the color of Whole Foods is out of it. You will all recall Whole Foods used to have a lot of signage hanging from the ceiling, talking about different farmers, different products. They obviously can't do that with the Go
because they have
technology.
all the cameras hanging down from the ceiling.
Right. So it's got pretty much the warehouse type ceiling because it's all cameras and technology up there. However, I agree with you. It's a nice store.
It's a very nice store. The grittiness that you would associate with traditional Whole Foods stores, that's sort of gone.
Yeah.
It's a little shinier. It's a little more tech savvy, obviously, because they've got the Just Walk Out technology. But that was happening anyway. I mean, I think the days where Whole Foods felt sort of gritty and you could almost have like sawdust under your feet kind of thing, that's been gone for a long time.
The earth tones as the decor, that's been gone for a while.
Yeah, a lot more steel.
This is a lot more steel. It's a very modern looking store, but I'm with you. I thought the produce looked like a nice, solid produce area. One thing that we both noticed, and remember we talked about this, we've been meeting at stores now for a couple days. When we were at Wegmans last week, the smell of food was missing. This store has its hot food bars back, it has salad bar back, and it has some hot food service. So so you really are smelling food.
Yeah, it does.
It's wonderful.
You and I both had the same reaction. We walked in, we got hungry.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day is what you want to do with a supermarket, a food store, right? You want to get people hungry.
It's a celebration of food.
So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see the degree to which they roll this out. I don't know how expensive it was to put this together. They'll probably do more Amazon Fresh stores with this technology than they will Whole Food stores with it. But they've clearly reached the tipping point where it's no longer prohibitive for them to put in this technology in large stores. And that was always the argument when the Amazon Go stores first opened, right? They can do it in a convenience store size thing, but they couldn't do it in a big store. Clearly they've figured that out.
Yeah, and if anybody is doubting us, I would guess there are easily 30,000 SKUs in that store.
Oh yeah.
There was tremendous variety, category by category. To your point, it's not just a convenience store. And I think it's why a lot of folks actually are going to have to come to see this store, because they are going to roll this out.
Right.
And they have a lot of stores, and this is a change in the shopping experience. Now, I will say, by the way, when we walked in, there was an employee to greet us, walk us through things. It was kind of weird that on the way out, there wasn't an employee, because we talked to another shopper who's looking at her phone and trying to figure out
what to do.
How do I get out of here?
I could help her, because I've been to an Amazon Go store
He
before.
did a great job of it. But she had this momentary thought. I was joking with her that we're trapped in this store forever. We don't know how to get out. And he got us out. So.
And they do have multiple. They have a couple of different entrances. They have the technology.
Self-checkout if
they
you
also
want to do
have
that.
self-checkout, and even somebody standing at a checkout if you need a lot of help.
Right.
So, I mean, they're trying to cover their bases. It's another step in Amazon's evolution. As we know, what they're trying to do is they're going to focus more on food and more on fashion when it comes to their physical stores. Continue to build out the Whole Foods chain and apply technology wherever it seems to work. My perception from this store is it works.
It works.
If they put this in my Whole Foods back in Connecticut, I'd say, okay, I would like that technology.
There was no point in this shopping trip today that I would have said this store is lacking.
Right.
It had, in terms of products, everything I would want. It has service departments, and the technology is there. Clearly, you and I have talked about killer apps in the past. This is kind of a killer app. It's a marriage of a fresh supermarket, one that is known for very good, high-quality fresh products, very strong on organics and other dietary issues, and cutting-edge technology.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think people are going to have to see it, but they may not have to come all the way to Washington, D.C. to see it, because I think we're going to see more of this going
forward. It's
going
to come near you pretty soon.
And again, as I say, listen, you may not want to invest in checkout-free technology, although there are other companies out there doing it, but at the very least, you may have to compete with somebody with checkout-free technology. And as we close, I want to remind people of the quote from the guy from Standard Cognition, who said their estimate is within 3 years, more than 50% of the U.S. population will have had at least one exposure to checkout-free technology. And my feeling is always, once you've had one exposure to it, it rewires your brain. Next time you go to a regular Whole Foods or a Giant or a Safeway and you're online, you're going to think of this store. And that's the magic.
Hey, you have always used the line. You're going to drive back north after today, and you have Easy Pass.
Right.
And once you have Easy Pass and you're hitting all the tolls that lie between Connecticut and Maryland, you're never going back to dropping money in the toll booth.
Absolutely. So anyway, well, that's our first look at this store. As I said, there'll be pictures below. We're always interested in what you have to say, because this is what's on our mind. And as always, we want to hear what's on your mind.